Hey, what's up, everybody? Pat here, gratefully recovering alcoholic and addict, just like every day. Guys, please don't forget to subscribe, leave the video a like, drop me a comment, and by all means, share it with anybody you think might get something out of it. On that, hope you all had a good day. It was a really good day. Worked at the bathroom demo. We get it all cleaned up, tub smashed up, ready to start rebuilding tomorrow, so that was good. Went to my doctor's appointment today. Met with the recovery doctor that I have, and basically went over everything. Scheduled some lung tests and some other tests that I need due to my age, but further just to check in recovery, and it was fantastic. She remembers me. She knew how well I was doing, so she asked me two things: if she could record our visit so that she could share the information with others who are struggling, because I'm doing so well in recovery, and second, if she could have a nurse shadow, and of course, teaching hospital, so that was cool. So I was honored by that, and the interview went really well. I've officially graduated off of my Sublocade, doctor approved, and they moved me to support only instead of treatment and support. So I'm no longer taking medically assisted treatment. It worked fantastic, and the reason I share this, guys, is be careful getting to the trap where you're stuck on this stuff for years and years and years, because it can be bad for you. I don't know what the long-term effects of Sublocade could be. I think it's still fairly new, but I know I wanted to use it properly, not abuse it. It's why you can't abuse it. It's why I started taking it, and have an exit strategy. And I'm so happy that I did exactly as I said I wanted to do. I did so with medical advice and doctor supervision. I've officially graduated off my Sublocade, and now they're just going to continue seeing me for support and make sure I don't start having cravings and have any need to go back on it, which is always an option if I did, but that feels really good. Further, just being somebody, they want to use my story to help other people because I've done my program so well, obviously makes me feel really good. And it's not about me being the shining star. It's me being able to help other people by sharing what I've done, and that feels really good. Like that's what builds me up. That makes me feel so plugged in. Just like makes up for so much wreckage in my past. And then speaking of wreckage in my past, I get a call from a lawyer today from Rhode Island, the case that I just found out that I had from 13 years ago. I've been assigned a lawyer, which means great because I don't have to spend money out of my pocket. And further, he let me know I don't have to go to next month's court date. He's going to reschedule it, and I'm going to meet with him next month. And he's like, but to tell you, right off the bat, I've already spoken to the DA, and they don't have the digital evidence they would require to prosecute the case. And I said, well, no, they can't because it never happened. He goes, well, regardless, you can tell me about that when we meet. He goes, I'm telling you, from the court's aspect, they don't have what they need to prosecute, so I'm going to move to dismiss the case right off the bat. So I couldn't work out better. I get that taken care of. Like, my life is good today, guys. Again, it's tiring, it's tough work, it's very busy. It's very rewarding. It's very fulfilling. And I love that my motives have changed, and I can see the change in my motives. And my motives had changed from day one. But as I progress in recovery, they change. And I'm finding more selflessness, more joy in giving than and not needing the attention to be the straight side. Like I get more joy out of finding out that I've helped somebody else than I don't anything really. It feels really good, and I appreciate that. And that happens to be the title of the Just for Today NA Meditation, Changing Motives. It's a great reading, so let's get into it. Changing motives. When we finally get our own selfish motives out of the way, we begin to find a peace that we never imagined possible. As we examine our beliefs, our actions, and our motives in recovery, we'll find that sometimes we do things for the wrong reasons. In our early recovery, we may have spent a great deal of money and time on people wanting only for them to like us. Well, later on, we may find that we still spend money on people, but our motives have changed. We do it because we like them. Or perhaps we used to get romantically involved because we felt hollow inside and were seeking fulfillment through another person. Now our reasons for romantic involvement are based on a desire to share our already rewarding life with an equal partner. Maybe we used to work the steps because we were afraid we'd relapse if we didn't. Today, we work the steps because we want to grow spiritually. We have a new purpose in life today, and our changing motives reflect that. We have so much more to offer than our neediness and insecurities. We have developed a wholesomeness of spirit and a peace of mind that moves our recovery into a new realm. We extend our love and share our recovery with complete generosity. The difference we make is the legacy we leave to those who have yet to join us. And that's beautiful, guys. The affirmation is just for today. In recovery, my motives have changed. I want to do things for the right reason, not just my personal benefit. Today, I will examine my motives. And guys, it's the whole thing about the progressive recovery, right? In the early days, whatever our motives are to get us in off the streets and get us into recovery, like, I applaud them, and that's fantastic. If you want to get the most out of recovery, you want to grow as a person. I mean, at least I'll keep it in myself. I stunted my spiritual growth. I cut off my spiritual growth for 30 years. I never took the time to find out who I was or what mattered to me. I was just, I was thrust into adulthood when I was still just a child, and I had to play that part because, again, we don't show weakness, we don't show emotion, right? And guys, I was 12, 13 years old. There's no way I could possibly have been capable of carrying adulthood, and I had to try. I was trying to help my younger brothers, trying to keep family together, keep the roof over our head, but I spiraled out, and I used that as an excuse for just partying constantly. Keg parties every night, always keeping somebody 21 years old or of age in the house so they could buy booze, selling drugs so I could pay the bills, and I wasn't paying any bills, guys. Let's be honest here, right? I was acting out because I had all this fear and insecurity. I didn't know if I was going to lose my family. I didn't know, where I was going to end up. I didn't know what to do. I didn't know how to be. I didn't know how to process the emotions that I was feeling from losing my dad and my mom walking away. Like, these are all normal things that any child would go through in those traumas. But I thought I had to be the man. It's funny, they actually made me see a therapist in those days, and even at like 14 years old, the therapist is like, listen, you're a very intelligent person. Everything you just told me is exactly what you think I want to hear, and you're pretty good at it. Take my card if you ever want to talk about the stuff that you're clearly hiding from me. I'm available, but don't waste my time, and I'm not going to waste yours because clearly you don't want to get into it. And I was like, I looked at that instead of being like, red flag, we need help here. I looked at it like, see, they see how smart I am. I can manipulate, and I wore it like a badge of honor. And that type of outlook is what brought me to where I ended up, thinking I had all the answers, refusing to look outside of myself, refusing to allow anybody to see my weaknesses. And it wasn't weaknesses, my empty voids, my need of knowledge, my need of guidance, my need of help, my need of support. Refusing to let anybody see that, even though it was blatantly obvious, led me to places and acting in situations where I was acting a clown and acting reckless to keep people at bay. And I thought, I don't know what I thought. Honestly, it doesn't matter. But that's what I was doing. And that was years ago, right? Problem is, guys, that led me to the just always being in over my head, and that's basically what it comes down to at the end of the day. I was constantly doing drugs so that I could not acknowledge or look at the reality of my life at any given point. And the problem is, guys, when we start doing that, it compounds and it just goes, and next thing you know, I blink my eyes and I'm 50 years old, and I just spent 4 years homeless, living on the street. I've been in and out of prison 15 times. Like, any of these things, had you told me were the eventuality back when I was starting, these behaviors, I would have never believed it for a second. Like, that's not me. I'm not that person. And well, yes, it is. That's what addiction will do to anybody. I don't care who you are, unless you've got, unlimited money and unlimited support, and people that are willing to look the other way for the rest of your life, no matter what you do to them. And I don't think everything has a limit, guys. And addiction is eventually going to bring you to that level if you don't get help eventually, or walk away from it eventually. So when I get in this time around, I realize that I'm like, you know what? I don't know who I am. I don't know what matters to me. Because I was praying, God was at least allowing or making sure that I was asking the right questions, because these are things I never said before. I always go into rehab and want to put up a front, and I was always praying apart. for once in my life, I realized that the time to play, to act, to play a part for anybody is over. I'm 50 some odd years old now. Like, if I'm gonna do this, I need to do this right. And because I'd done so in prayer, and I was reading books in scientific prayer, and I was building conscious contact with my higher power, God started putting the right questions in my brain. Who am I? What matters to me? What do I want my life to look like? What am I good at? What do I have that's worth saving? What do I need to throw away and start over? How do I start over? And those things can be so overwhelming. So again, that's why we keep it in a day, and we deal with what's in front of us. What do we have in our hands? And because I've continued to do that, I just had an exit interview with one of my doctors, and she recorded the interview to use with others, so that then maybe they can take the steps that I've taken to build their life. Like, I'm honored for that today, because I've done it right. And again, it's not that I made it all up. No, I followed the program as it's laid out, starting with my higher power. I did everything in step and in faith. And then I just show up every day, really. And again, for me, understanding that everything I've been telling myself, so basically, we have an operating system which is our thoughts, our beliefs, our actions, and that is based on what we believe and what we perceive our reality around us. I was lying to myself. I was feeding myself false information to then make base judgments on. So every base judgment I had was skewed. It was, it could not compute, because I was feeding it lies. So I realized I had to stop all that. Like, it was just subconscious awareness. So first thing I needed to do was demand rigorous honesty of myself, and that just meant learning to pause before I acted, before I spoke, digesting things, before I just reacted. I had to let go of my instincts. I had to stop being reactionary in any or every way, shape, or form. So I had to stop and digest the simplest things. Getting up in the morning. Do I want to go to this job? No, I don't. Well, let's weigh this out. I need to pay things off, but no, I know this is a bad place. There's got to be better out there. I don't know what it is. I took the leap of faith. Boom, right? Next thing you know, I opened the business. These things I talk about all the time. These are the small behaviors that we do day in and day out. The first and foremost is, again, one of the very first things that came to me was, the first workshop I did in rehab was basically checking your motives. Do you do the right thing because you think somebody's going to reward you, because you think you might get in trouble if you don't, or because it's the right thing to do? And I realized more often than not, it was either because I thought somebody's going to get me in trouble, or because I thought somebody might reward me. And I'm like, that's terrible. Like, that means as soon as I think nobody's looking, I cut corners. And I realized, I looked at my life and said, yeah, that's exactly what I've done. I would act, whatever somebody would expect of me, I would act that way in front of them. But the minute I was in front of somebody else that expected something different, I would act differently. And I'm like, well, I'm not showing up the same person, and I'm confusing myself. Again, how does my programming work when I'm being two different people, or 70 different people if I'm talking to 70 different people, in front of 70 different people, rather. And I don't think I was in front of that many people, but you get the point. So I had to demand a rigorous honesty of myself so I could show up the same person. And then I had to have the guts, the courage to show up authentically in front of people that I had shown up inauthentically for a long period of time. And because I started doing those things, guys, I learned to do the right. And the easiest way to do that was to do the right thing, because it's the right thing to do. That's such a profound thing, guys. If you can master that, again, master your relationship with your higher power, master your honesty with yourself, learn to do the right thing because it's the right thing to do. In early recovery, if you can focus on those three things, you are well on your way. And then you start going into your program with those attributes, and you start compounding and expanding on them. If you can do that, guys, you're going to change your life for so much better. You're going to build honest relationships. You're going to start getting confidence and self-respect. You're going to start to develop a sense of self-worth, which then you take out into the outside world. And I said this from day one. I'm like, I need to work on these things for me, so when I do eventually bring myself back back into the outside world, I'm capable of sustaining the relationships I build, the opportunities I'm presented with. And I've done so incredibly well, and I'm proud of that fact, guys. I'm so incredibly proud today. I'm so incredibly happy today. Further, getting just like I talked about, like with my higher power, I go into things with blind faith. I went in front of that judge when I had that warrant last week, and I went over and I did the interview. The judge suggested I did, and I get a phone call today. I've been assigned a lawyer from Rhode Island, which means I don't have to spend money on my case. He tells me they don't have the paperwork for the court, so it's going to get dismissed, just like my intuition told me, just like, when I prayed to my higher power. I did these things in blind faith, and it may take longer than I would like it to, but it's not costing me anything. I don't even have to show up for the court cases. Like, things are just falling into place because I do things in blind faith. I do the right thing because it's the right thing to do. I honor my commitments. I tried it the best I can to be a man of my word today, and because of those things, I've grown love for myself. It's one of the things the doctor asked me today. She's like, what was the difference for you this time around? Because everything is just working for you this time. And I'm like, I honestly, it's everything. Like, open-mindedness, it's the willingness, it's the putting the time in, taking the time to apply these lessons. It's the work I do on my YouTube channel. It's being a member of many home groups and being actively honest participant in those home groups. It's putting recovery first and then applying these principles to all of my affairs. Basically, I've learned to live recovery. I've learned to love recovery, and recovery has given me every gift that anybody could ever ask for. And so I do more and more of it every day. And so long as I stay plugged into this, it's going to continue to expand. The opportunities, the relationships, the financial security, the shiny trinkets are starting to show up because I can afford them. Though I choose not to, because again, I've got a goal that I want to take this as big as I can, which means being a millionaire property owner in the next couple of years. And that is a realistic, goal, because I'm already taking the action steps and I already see the experience of what I've done, and I've already got the pieces lined up in place. So long as I don't go backwards, I don't stop doing everything I'm doing, and I continue to progress forward, then it's inevitable. That's a good feeling, guys. There are a lot of good things in my life that are inevitable if I continue the course that I'm on. And again, that's a contingency. Everything's always contingent. If I choose to go backwards and go get high, then every bit will be gone in a heartbeat. I'll probably be gone in a heartbeat. That's the reality of it. So I'm not going to do that. I'm going to do the things I need to do to keep me from doing that. And at the end of the day, I don't have to worry too much about that because my motives have changed. Change your motives, change your life. Change your motives, change your actions. Change your motives, change your beliefs. And when you change your motives for the better, and you align yourself with good things. And when you align yourself with good things, you receive good things. Guys, it's incredibly simple at the end of the day. It doesn't make it easy, and it means it's all, and it's still a lot of work, but it's simple. They specifically designed this program to be simple so that we could grasp it. Coming out of addiction, we're not always, we don't always have the highest mental acuity. I know I certainly did not. Go back and look at my first videos. I was pretty foggy. But you know what? It comes back bit by bit, day by day, when we continue to do the right thing. Guys, these lessons, this program will give you everything you ever dreamed of. Like I said in yesterday's videos, your old dreams needn't die. These are the action steps that'll get you to them. And give yourself a shot. You're worth it. I promise you, you are. And you can do this. I promise you, you can. But it's up to you to do so. We'll be right here to support you. Guys, that's the video for today. Thank you so much for being here with me. Always remember, God loves you. I love you. We'll see you in the next one.